252.
All right, welcome to another episode of 252. This is Frank G here along with
Ralphie D.
Coolwater Kurt.
Aaron Michael.
and today we're going to talk about the ever-long rivalry between Bill Cosby and Eddie Murphy. I don't know. We're probably going to explain how that's going to work beforehand. But before we even get into that, let's check in with 252 news and reviews.
All right. Let's start with the good. Trump did something absolutely amazing this week. Not only did we forget about the Russian involvement in our democratic process, not only did we forget about possible nuclear apocalypse, I haven't forgotten about that, with North Korea, he effectively galvanized the country on one simple fact. That out of everything, you have to condemn the Nazis.
Well, I feel like we were especially, specifically prepared for this battle too. Like our entire 8th grade year prepared us for this battle, and at the time we thought it was excessive. But now you understand what she was trying to tell us.
Yes.
Some people out there never got the message that Nazis are bad.
Yeah, it's almost too sickening to even say this is sickening, and the flip-floppery it's crazy because not only did it take a while for him to originally even say anything about what happened in Charlottesville, then 2 days later, then he's like, yeah, he mentions the neo-Nazi party, the white supremacists.
But he did condemn them.
Yeah, and then only to go back the next day and was like, nah, you know what?
Both sides.
Now that I think about it, there was many sides are,
Many sides.
He condemned them except for the good ones.
Yeah, man.
And it got to the point
Racist
where,
grandpa.
yeah, and the thing is, me personally, and this is just my own personal opinion, before Donald Trump threw his hat into the political arena,
His red
Yeah.
MAGA hat.
I'm gonna say that even when he was like his kind of celebrity, and we had talked about this before, it's almost like he did the Vincent McMahon thing by
He did.
making a character of himself,
Mhm.
the Donald, which is not really Donald Trump,
No.
but it's a megalomaniac type character, businessman, you're fired, that guy.
Yeah. Shades of Vince McMahon.
Yeah, in that vein, but now you're playing a character as the president, and what I'm saying is I never really thought of him as being like a racist person, or I never got that impression,
No.
But then again, I ain't get that impression from Mel Gibson either, and I was definitely wrong.
With Donald, I can remember being not in awe of him, but kind of like looking up to him as a way, because he was the guy who had the Trump Plaza, and he would put on these. I mean, he was sitting next to Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield and George Foreman, and he got pictures of him, kissing Muhammad Ali, and giving him awards and stuff. So, I mean, I looked at him like a Hugh Hefner type of cool dude. I mean, he's a playboy back then, Trump Plaza, everything Trump. Real estate. I mean, he's Trump. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have half the classic boxing matches that we have throughout history if it wasn't for him. So he wasn't like that. I mean, it's just,
we even talked about on
He
our
just
earlier
wasn't.
show, like he's actually really good friends with Don King.
Yeah,
And
they
it came from
they
those
folks.
association.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Like I didn't know Don King was one of his advisors. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
There's
That's
a
what I'm
certain
saying.
level though where people will go, well, of course I like him. He's helping me make money, or he's helping me get where, you're great as long as you're helping me do what I need. But otherwise, it's like again with the good ones.
Plus, it's class. I mean, race is a division, but class is a divider. Put that on a bumper sticker. God damn it. Just came up with that.
I just have a hard time believing that man at his core is prejudice. I mean, it's all propaganda for. I mean, he's attached now. Now you're part of the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, he can talk about. He can say what he
do
wants.
about it
And
now.
he got to roll with Rush. You know what I mean?
That boat has definitely left the harbor. So and that's the point. I'm saying personally, I don't feel one thing, but the way the overall look of it right now, and if you want to say, politically speaking, if you want to believe like what Banyan is the real president puppet master, he's just out in front, and Banyan's like, look, we don't want to lose our base, we don't want to lose our supporters. Even though you're saying our base and our supporters, the people you're talking about are neo-Nazis. And when David Duke put out that statement when he was like, "God bless our president, he has our backs," and then Trump still didn't say,
and you
"No,
don't
no,
say,
you're misguided,
Yeah.
David Duke." No,
that's not our message.
No,
yeah,
he don't want to do that. That's a sponsor.
I,
That's a sponsor dude.
That's exactly the thing. Is that I don't think that I think Bannon's probably on his way out because he's said some things that have pissed off Trump too. But I think what his main goal is to not offend anybody who he thinks is going to vote for him again. Because like, people keep saying, why does he keep having rallies when he's already elected? Why doesn't he do the job? Well, he
you
filed.
keep playing the hits, bro.
Yeah, he filed for re-election the day after he got into office, so he can campaign. He's campaigning for 2020. He filed for re-election the day he got into office, unlike everybody else ever. And that's why he's doing this, because he's not doing any of his job. He's just trying to keep himself going longer.
Right. And the longer he's in office, the longer he can stay alive and the Russians won't whack him.
Well, here's the deal. I don't even think impeachment should be on the table at this point. I think he should just resign. Enough is enough. The joke is over. You need to return the country to more responsible hands, and you just need to fucking bow out and
At
just
this
retire.
point, we'll take Mike Pence. Is that what you're saying?
At this time, I will gladly take Mike Pence. I would take Rubio right now. Rubio.
Those guys all suck, but at least they have a shred of sanity underneath. I guess that's the only real.
You would
benefit.
only have to hope.
Though they could get more destructive things done in a shorter time, because he's a kind of a bumbling goofball. We've got that on our side. It just depends on what the danger is. Are we trying to fight internal Nazis, or are we trying to fight Koreans with missiles?
We're fighting every side.
Everybody.
We're on too many fronts. You ever played the game Risk? If your borders are surrounded by too many enemies, you can't just attack everybody.
That's right.
You gotta come in. You gotta put all your armies on the one because it's too many. You can't fight on all sides. Anyway, legendary comic book writer Mark Millar makes a deal with Netflix. Netflix has acquired Millar World, the comic book publisher behind such hit titles as Kick-Ass and Kingsman that have inspired those successful films. This deal gives Netflix more content and likely acts as a hedge against Marvel films Netflix has licensed from Disney.
And Disney's about to do their own thing too.
But Disney is doing their own thing, but they're not taking Marvel and Marvel and Star Wars with them. They're just taking the Disney vault with them.
Well, this stuff is the Disney vault now.
Well, yeah, but
you're talking about
it's not animated or aimed at the little guys. Yeah, did they settle that? Because they were going to take that, and then they said, maybe we'll take some money instead.
But the Marvel shows specifically are co-owned by Netflix. So you can't take those, and they're very wildly successful TV shows.
But I don't think you're talking about the Netflix, like Iron Fist, Daredevil,
right?
Okay, Defenders. Not, I was gonna say Agents of Shield, but I think that's more like an ABC.
That's Disney.
Okay. It's Disney.
ABC is Disney. Look, Disney is like there's a picture of the globe, and it has Mickey Mouse ears on it because Disney does own
everything.
Almost,
the world.
Almost.
They're
really trying.
Disney get on my nerves.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
I still
keep
got
it 100.
I still got small children. They took me for about 5 racks last year, and I'm still mad about it.
Hey, you talk about the Nazi sympathizer, man. Walt Disney, bro.
Walt Disney, bro.
Why would you bring that up?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. He was one of the.
You're the guy that gets invited to the wedding and said, "That's why you should suck my dick." Why bringing up old shit, man? We like Marvel. We like Star Wars.
I know.
We don't think about, and that was hearsay.
Yeah, I hear people say it.
And then somebody digs up that cartoon with Donald Duck in the Nazi costume, and you're like, oh, maybe it wasn't hearsay.
Did they think I forgot about Uncle Remus? Come on, man. I saw that at the theater in 1981.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Zippity
Zippity doo
doo
dah.
Oh wow.
I've
shit.
still never actually I've seen like bits of it, and I
I've only
could
seen,
probably
I
watch
saw-
it.
I've
but
only seen the bits that they show when they talk about how racist that was.
I
So
saw
I
the
didn't
song
know. I
itself.
didn't know that the song uh, referred to the title. Zippity doo dah is zip. The zip in it is a derogatory term for blacks used back then called zip coon. They used to call fancy dressing black folks back then
Wow.
zip coons.
Yeah.
So zippity doo
So-
dah.
Yeah. And I'm in the audience
Wow.
singing the song
Yeah.
in 1981, watching this movie, and I'm like, oh, I like the movie. That old black man, that could be my uncle.
I had we have a buddy of ours, Flip. He didn't know White Lines was about cocaine.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And I told him, I said,
Yeah.
you mean when the bridge goes, get higher, baby,
Get
don't
higher,
ever come
baby."
down. Free base. You still
Yeah,
didn't
you didn't
know.
know.
I thought it was just something cool to say.
he thought that's when you're supposed to drop it. Boom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that song's about cocaine, brother.
And next thing you know, you're gonna tell me the song "White Horse" is about heroin. Come
Oh, my dad made me take that right back.
on. Oh, did he?
Yeah, I bought that from the warehouse, and he said, "If you want to be," he heard that.
If you
If you want
want
to
to
be, you got
ride,
to be a bit. You know, if
Yeah.
you want to be rich, you got
Yeah.
to be a. You take that right back to the warehouse.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, come
Oh,
on, Dad.
I actually had to take one. What was it? Something I can't remember what it was, but on the thing it said too dope, and my mom looked at us. Dope. What's dope? I said, "Dope. My dope means good. Don't mean good."
Take that right on
Take
back.
that right on back. That was back when you could be a child and buy stuff before they put the sticker on it.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, you had to buy
Okay,
an extra copy to stick under your bookshelf or bed. That was the only way to, or make it. I make a copy of it and then put the copy out to get found, so that your master tape would be hidden somewhere to make another copy from. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's
This-
smart.
and that was smart too. And one thing Frank did too is when he would tape, excuse me, dub things for me, he would actually make the edited version himself. And if
Yeah.
he didn't have the edited version, he would, pause it and unpause it.
Because
Do
we
the
was
quick
all-
pause and unpause.
Wait,
We all had the same kind of parents. We was gonna get in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah, we was
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get. In
I had
trouble.
I had the Raising Hell poster of Run DMC. I put
Ah,
another small
oh.
picture of Run DMC over the hell. So is it Raising or Run DMC?
What's the rest? Let's say raising the roof, man.
Don't even worry about it.
It was like our parents paid it. They didn't pay 100% attention, but when they did zone in on something,
Yeah, it was
they
bad.
had it was like missile targeting. It was like, what's this? Oh, this is what you're gonna.
I know, man. I've been doing all
Wow.
kinds of stuff.
One of the parents in our group of parents also used to get, bulletins and then go and notify all the other parents of what they thought was bad, and then it would spread. So it's like,
Yeah, that's
oh
just
man,
a hater.
Hey, that's some serious work.
Yeah,
I'm saying
That's the
I
PTA
mean,
for the parents.
yeah.
I would appreciate that now, but back then I didn't appreciate it.
Well, I wouldn't. Like now, there's almost nothing you can do now.
No,
And
just so
people
you
worry
know,
about everything. It's like if your kids are watching YouTube, they've seen so much stuff you don't even know about.
true.
Man.
But just so you know what parents are snitches, just in case you.
Oh yeah.
That's all. A quick aside though, before you get into the next story, Aaron, since we're kind of on the topic of old tapes and music and stuff, do you remember when N.W.A.'s Straight Outta Compton came out?
I remember it, and I remember exactly where I was at. It kind of changed my life. I was in Leopold's in Berkeley's old record store, and it was the single for Gangsta Gangsta.
Yes.
And which had all them sitting on the front. There was a picture of all. There was a shoe signing stand.
Yes, Frank,
That's a
you
white
have it
guy.
within reach, so you can.
White guy shining his shoes. So I was number one in all that because I ain't never seen no mess like that before. Remember,
Yeah.
before that, all we had was Public Enemy, Boogie Down Productions. Everybody was kind of like, Red, Black, and Green, Black Power Symbol, Queen Latifah, Porches Teachers, and all those Jungle Brothers cats, and
Yes.
everybody was cool. It was a peaceful kind of. I mean, about as mad as we was getting as Fight the Power. But then I saw the Gangsta cover, and and
This
then
is
on the
what I
back
gotta
it was
be.
walking down the alley with the baseball bat, and I was like, it just really. I mean, I'm from Richmond, California. That's kind of where I grew up, so I seen a lot of stuff at an early age, and I related more to that, and
Uh,
that's
that was
I was
shit back
sold,
then.
man.
Yeah,
I
same
feel
here.
bad for being a part of the bandwagon now that I see what it's
Wow.
evolved into, and but
Not
You know,
even.
it's
It
like
was.
that. It's like N.W.A. All those other guys, you know, even Ice-T and you know, DMC, all those dudes, they all look cool, but they all look like older guys that were doing their music thing. You know, N.W.A. looked like kids we went to high school with, like straight up. Many of them looked exactly like kids that we went to school with. Like this is real. You
Definitely.
know, that was the appeal. I think like it spoke directly to us. You know.
Yeah, it did. All right.
Boys in the Hood, I heard that, lost my mind. I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, what the heck? He's only 15. That dude spin like that?
The first. the
Remember,
first
because everybody
time.
thought he was real
Yeah.
young at first.
Everybody thought.
Yeah,
he was
that's
only-
right. Everybody
Yeah,
thought
I
he
was
was a
like,
little kid.
Yeah.
He was the oldest one in the damn group.
Grown ass man.
Grown ass man.
The first time I heard the first time I heard Dope Man, it was in art class, and Maurice, which Maurice? One of
Big talk, Big Maurice.
Maurice, who's now I think a cop.
Of course.
Oh, you talking about Mook?
Yeah.
Mook.
Otha.
Otha. I'm sorry.
Well, I
No,
don't
it wasn't.
wanna-
It wasn't Maurice. It was Otha Livingston.
Yeah,
Osa,
so
there you go.
Don't put him out there like that. But
Mr. Otha, Officer. Oh, that's my man.
Osa's a cop.
Yeah, rolling up on me on the sidewalk on your motorcycle, man, scaring me, made me think I was in trouble.
Did he know? He knew it was you.
Yeah, he knew it was me.
Okay,
He
was
got me. I was
with
like,
you.
man, what did I do now? He pulled off his helmet. He's like, got you. I'm like, I bet you a fool.
Yeah, I heard Otha Livingston singing "Dope Man" in class. I was like, "What is this?"
he was in the
song?
senior superlatives as most likely to be on America's Most
It
Wanted.
sure was in my high school yearbook, my 12th
And he
year,
ended up
yearbook.
being the cop.
The cop.
Yeah,
Officer
that's
of
crazy.
the goddamn law.
Yeah.
Anyway, this segment's supposed to be 10
I'm
minutes.
sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, man. I got some sad news to bring to y'all. It's sad either way, especially if you're a wrestling fan. One of my idols, my all-time favorites, Ric Flair, is in critical condition today. Lord have mercy. He was put in a medical-induced coma over the weekend following a surgery. I heard something happened to him. I didn't know what it was. He's suffering from multiple organ failures, which isn't a good thing.
Yeah, the nature
In the
boy,
least.
styling and profiling, always in my heart. Prayers go out to him
Yes.
and his family. Truly one of the, like, even behind the scenes, no matter what kind of guy you saw Ric Flair, whether if he was the face or he was the heel, he was always that guy that always was behind the company, always behind the guys.
Yeah, always behind the
Of course,
wrestlers.
later on in his career, everyone who knows Ric Flair, like beginning of the career, when people were kind of out for themselves and stuff like that, and the old guys had to teach him how to
How to
carry
make his
on,
way, right.
and then he just mentored guy after guy, big guys,
You
Orton,
gotta love that.
Triple H,
Yep.
But you know what? Even in light of that, there's only one Rick. They still couldn't do it like him. Without
Yeah.
Ric Flair, I don't think he's
you wouldn't have
involved.
modern wrestling today if you didn't.
Well,
have
you
Ric.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
Mayweather. You wouldn't have McGregor doing the stuff that he
Yeah.
actually
Oh, yeah.
True.
he was a
He
part of
got
that because you had Gorgeous George, Pat Patterson, you had guys like that, older in the 50s. You had Ali. I'm talking about the flamboyant sports types, and Ric Flair. I mean, Leonard was cool. He was a superstar, but he wasn't flamboyant. De La Hoya wasn't flamboyant.
I bet he
Ric
had
I,
Flair is right up there.
I definitely say if you had a Mount Rushmore of
Flamboyant. He's up there with the five.
yeah, he's
Ali,
yeah,
Ric Flair,
Broadway Joe.
Broadway Joe. I don't remember.
Joe Namath.
Joe Namath.
Oh,
Wearing the
Yeah,
Broadway
he was
Joe.
wearing
I'm
his
thinking of
coats
a
on the
wrestler. Oh yeah,
sidelines.
with the fur on. Yeah, you got
Flamboyant.
Yeah, that's a big old pimp right there.
Remember when he got drunk and he was trying to? I think it was
holla at
what was it?
Susie.
Susie Colbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the guys that wear with you. I was like, oh shit! Cut the camera 3.
Jeez, this is embarrassing,
man.
Uncle Joe.
Oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that though. Ric Flair, man.
Was he one of your favorites, Frank?
After I was about like 15 or 16, yeah, when I was a
That's
kid,
how I
not so
felt,
much
too.
because we didn't have, I was all WWF. I didn't have cable,
Right.
so I didn't get any of that NWA, WCW stuff until later on.
No,
right?
see, I was a wrestling fan since I was a little kid, so I didn't know about the WWE. I mean WWF until I grew up on
You
NWA.
were you reading the magazines and
Superstar.
everything?
I was in the magazine.
I would always.
Yeah, I'm in the magazine as a pen pal. I look like a little spider monkey.
What?
It's like cute. It's like,
Oh man!
as a pen pal.
Next time you're on the show,
I'll,
you gotta
I'll,
bring that.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
But yeah, I
1977.
would always see his face on the magazine covers, just
Oh, yeah.
all bloody and
Yeah.
his white hair red.
Him
Yeah.
versus Dusty
That was always
Rhodes,
just-
boy, they used to
Yeah.
get it on, man.
Yeah, that's
Whoever
what
they
I
were trying to
remember, the
push,
pictures.
whoever they were trying to push, they would put him up with Rick to legitimize the next guy.
Right.
Rick was always that guy to have the singles
If you wanna
match.
be
with
the
you-
man.
If you want to be the man,
You
you gotta beat the man. I was gonna save that for the end though, but you stepped on
Oh,
the
I
line.
stepped
But it's
on
all
it.
right. It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
It's all right.
I'm like that. Well, Ralphie D recommends The Defenders. Imagine that, a Marvel property. 4 of Marvel's biggest heroes are each working individually but have one common goal in mind: to save New York City. Burdened with their own personal challenges, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, anyone, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand, aka Iron Fist, realize they likely won't be able to accomplish that task at hand. I have not seen it yet because it's
It
not out
drops.
yet.
It drops
Okay,
tomorrow.
I was,
But
thought
I
it was late to
recommend
show.
it. So
But they
see that.
did drop the first
The
four.
first
They did drop
trailer I
the
saw.
first the
Trailer.
first 4 episodes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
See, that's why
And
I
a
recommended
select
it.
few got to see them
I
and
didn't get to
review
see it.
them. I personally opted not to.
You're gonna wait for the whole thing so you
Yeah,
can
I'm gonna
just
wait for
eat
the
a
whole
whole giant chunk of it. That's what I'm doing.
I'm definitely gonna watch this
Oh,
weekend. I'm gonna watch the whole thing this weekend.
Can I ask a question? So, out of all 4 series, which 4 did you guys like?
Which one out of the 4?
No, which ones did you like? Because I personally didn't care for Iron Fist or Jessica Jones.
I'll rank them. Daredevil followed closely by Luke Cage. They're like neck and
Neck and
neck to me.
Okay, same.
Jessica Jones and then
Iron
Iron
Fist. That's the
Fist.
order. I
Sorry.
got.
Yeah, that's
Same
also
order.
the order, but more specifically, Daredevil season 2 was better than
That was the standout.
all of the shows.
Right.
What
The,
I
with
like,
Punisher being
yeah, the addition of the Punisher,
introduced.
which really took that over the top. Now Jessica Jones was really good. I mean, I watched it the first way through. I didn't know anything about Jessica Jones.
That's
so
why I didn't appreciate it.
I watched it and it was all right. But then when I watched it again, I rewatched it now with the presence of mind that this is a superhero. It's a superhero show, but it's a woman going through PTSD from being emotionally and mentally raped
scarred.
and by a guy who had an ability like this is like when you're a kid and you have you're talking to those games they're like, oh, what power would you want? This is that kid that burns ants that has a telepathic ability to make anybody do whatever he wants.
Purple Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just does it, and he's so devoid of emotion
Mhm.
except for his obsession for Jessica, which is not even it's an emotion, but it was so
an obsession.
crazy the way that they interweave that. I ended up giving that show more than when I first watched it. I appreciated it more. Now, with that being said, when they dropped Luke Cage, I was like, this shit is this. I've been waiting my entire life
I'm
for
saying.
this. The only other shows we had was back in the day. We had Mantis with Carl Lumbly,
Yeah.
and then when Sticky Fingers was Blade, that was the other superhero.
And every now and then you would see Black Lightning on the Super Friends.
I'm not talking about animated. I'm talking about
Just
like
regular.
this was the shit. And so yeah, and it was done so well. And they really went street, and they really made me. It was Harlem, and it was so
Oh
good.
yeah, it was gritty. It was
And
dirty.
I was
Good.
disappointed.
Nice soundtrack.
I was disappointed with Iron Fist because honestly, the best fight scene was when he was fighting against the drunken guy. And
Too many fight scenes.
but they weren't good.
That's what I'm saying. It's too many.
And it wasn't even. I wouldn't even say, but they were. He was not impressive. The guy Finn Jones,
Yeah.
he wasn't impressive as a martial artist.
Mm.
They should have got someone who
Does martial arts.
at
not an
least
actor.
had a better. Because even Charlie Cox isn't a martial artist. He's a dancer, but he can fake martial arts because he knows choreographed moves.
There you go.
I think Charlie Cox is like a ballroom, like a professional. Well, he's an actor, but he's a ballroom dancer. He was in a movie Strictly Ballroom that Big Dog made me watch.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was a movie about ballroom dancing.
Well, that just shows what culture you don't have.
I'm just saying, I watched it, so I have a little more culture. And then when Daredevil came back, I was like, hey, it's the ballroom dancer. You know, it was kind of like Eva Destruction when Gregory Hines started, and then it was like, hey, the tap dancer
That
was
is
in an
funny
action
that
movie.
you say that. I just watched that.
Eva Destruction?
It is not good.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I went and saw that when it came out. I had a date to go see that movie. I used Shadrach.
Is that when you took?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That was when I took someone.
Robbie
to
was
see
hitting
that.
the heavy.
I took someone to see that movie and used his mom's car actually to go see it. Evil Destruction. It was horrible. Actually, it was good back then. On the rewatch, man, it was tough.
It was good.
Some of it took place
It
in
was
Napa
good
Valley.
because of the company you had,
That's true.
but now when you're watching it alone,
Yeah, it wasn't good. R.I.P. Gregory Hines. Well,
That's
that
all-
will wrap up
that's
this
all the
week's
news I got for today.
news and reviews.
252.
Odds on it. Pull yourself together.